Continuing now with section 12.2 on point-slope form on page 181, you'll see that there are two students here who were supposed to write an equation of a line through these points. Now, they determined that the slope was negative 1/3, but they each chose a different point in order to represent the equation of a line. I just want to show where this negative 1/3 comes from. If you take 5 minus 4 over 3 minus 6, you get 1 over negative 3. But a positive divided by a negative can be rewritten as negative 1 over 3. Remember, that negative can be in the denominator or the numerator, or we can put it out in front as they did here. Now, we're supposed to rewrite each student's equation in slope-intercept form and then compare the results. So the first one, we have y minus 4 equals negative 1/3 x minus 6. And here, if we distribute, we get negative 1/3 x plus 2. 1/3 of 6 is 2, and a negative times a negative gives us positive. And so when we add the 4 to both sides, we get y equals negative 1/3 x plus 6. Now, if we take the second students, we have y minus 5 is equal to negative 1/3 x minus 3. And that would give us y minus 5. Here we get negative 1/3 x. And when we multiply the negative 1/3 times the negative 3, that gives us a plus 1. And when we add the 5 to both sides, we get y equals negative 1/3 x plus 6. So we can see that even though in point-slope form they look different, when we put them both into slope-intercept form, they are the same equation. So whose equation was correct? They're both correct. That doesn't matter if we write it in slope-intercept form or in point-slope form. It's really the same line, just written in a different way. Now in number 8, it says find the equation in point-slope form of the line shown. Now we need two pieces of information. We need a point, and this is a nice point to use, or we could use this one, either one, but it says find the equation in point-slope form. We can choose either one of those, and we just need to know what the slope would be. So now our slope is a rise of 5 and a run of 1. So the slope of this line is 5, and we can choose either one of those 2 points. So I'm going to choose y minus 2 equals 5x minus 2, if I use this point right here. Now, it says write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to rewrite this as y minus 2 equals 5x minus 10. And if I add 2 to both sides, I'll get y equals 5x minus 8. So, point-slope form, slope-intercept form. And if you would take this line and extend it way down here, it would intersect the y-axis at negative 8. Now in number 10, it says explain the process you would use to write an equation of a line in point-slope form when you're given 2 points. In order to do this, we first would find the slope, and then after we find the slope, we would choose one of the points along with our slope and write the equation of the line. Now, if in number 11, the similarities and differences, for slope-intercept form, we find the slope, and we use the intercept. Now, we can always take point slope form and rewrite it into y-intercept form. We need the slope, and we need a point in order to write point slope. And then with the slope-intercept form, if we have the intercept, that's very helpful. But if not, we can always find the intercept, as we could here, y-intercept of -8. Now, just a few more examples here on page 182. Write an equation of the line with the slope of 0.25 that passes through the point -1, -8. So it would be y plus 8 equals 0.25 x plus 1. And number 13, find the slope in a point. The slope is -3/4, and a point would be 4, 9. Here our slope is -2/3, and our point would be -4. And notice they tried to trick us here. That 3 has already been brought over to the right side. So if we subtract 3 from both sides, we would have y minus 3. That tells us that -4, 3 is a point on that line. Now, number 14, it goes through these points, and we're supposed to write this in slope-intercept form. So the first thing we're going to do is find our slope. So I'm going to take 5 minus 3, and then 7 minus a -3, and that turns out to be 2/10. And I'm going to reduce that so that I get 1/5. Now, I can choose either one of these equations, either one of these points, and then write the equation. So y minus 3 equals 1/5 x plus 3. And what we would get then is y minus 3, 1/5 x. When I distribute the 1/5 times the 3, that gives me 3/5. And if I add the 3 to both sides, I'll get y equals 1/5 x plus 3 3/5. So now I have my slope, and I also have